Okay, today we're going to be talking about barbells versus the dumbbells. Basically, compound movements versus isolation movements. We're going to talk about the compound movement first. Bench press, military press, squats, deadlifts, bent over rows, stuff of that nature. Any type of two-handed movement with a long bar. Using the barbells, you will be able to lift heavier and heavier weights. Lifting heavier weight does not necessarily means bigger muscles. So like I said in other Q&As, it's possible to be strong and not be bigger, because you're mostly working attendance when you're working with heavier weights. Also with the barbell, take for instance the bench press. You have a limited range of motion with the bench press. When you're coming down, you know, your chest is the factor that blocks you from going any further. It's probably be no need to go any further, but you still have a little bit more room to stretch that pectoral muscles. Also, when you're using compound movements, you're actually incorporating other muscles of the body to help you and assist you in lifting that particular weight. Dumbbells, basically, you have a greater range of motion. You're not able to lift as heavy a weight, but even though you're not able to lift heavier weights than it would be with the barbell, the weight is still sufficient enough to cause you to have muscle failure. That's the only thing that matters when it comes down to lifting weights. It's muscle failure. Once you reach that, you have activated all muscle tissues toward that lift. Dumbbells also, you have to balance each side independently. So if you have a weak side, you'll know which side is weak and which side is strong. Even with the barbell, you still have the assistance of the other side. With a dumbbell, you don't have that. Isolation movements like leg presses and stuff like that, you can also do it single leg presses, you know, which would allow you to bring up that weak side. So size comes from muscle work, not necessarily strength of the muscle. So in order to get a great deal of size, you would have to be able to work that muscle to a greater degree. And I think, in my opinion, those isolation movements, machines that people think that you can't gain weight with, you only have to use the barbells and the dumbbells to gain size, then you're going to be really lacking, because you don't have that isolation that you need to stretch that muscle to its full potential and get that lift done and get that work done. Compound movements, I think, are basically ego type of things. Those lifters are working mainly off egos when they're doing those type of lifts. Now, if you're a power lifter, that's your job. That's what you do. Your job is to move as much weight as you can. When you're a bodybuilder, it's not to move as much weight as you can, but to do as much work as you can on the muscle, quality work on the muscle. And you get that quality work more with isolation movements like leg presses, hammer strength presses, dumbbell presses, you know, things of that nature, because you're able to concentrate on the muscle more. The machine helps you stabilize the weight, which will allow you to fatigue the muscle even more. That's the reason you can't lift as much with an isolation movement than you can with the compound movement. You're isolating the muscle to a greater degree. More isolation, more work, more size. I don't want you to think that I'm against barbell movements, which they have their place. That's the main lifts that I do is barbells, old school training, free weight. But as I've gotten a little wiser and learned more of muscle activation, I found that isolating the muscle is far superior than heavy weights. So I think if you want to really target a muscle, you want to use those isolation exercises. You know, a lot of those hammer strength machines and leg presses and stuff like that. You want to stay inside those things, isolate that muscle, get the other muscles out the way, and that would give you a greater payoff than just using basic movements with the barbell, which is also associated with a lot of injuries because of egos and individuals lifting too much. So, in my opinion, the barbell versus the dumbbells, I think the dumbbells win as far as muscle work. And like I said before, muscle size comes from muscle work and not strength. So that's my 2 cents. Take it for what it's worth.